Nobody War and Knucklycom, part of Elixir B. They are, as you can see on your standing screen, in right now in 4th and 5th place, so this is definitely going to be for bragging rights. We are in Week 8 of Ultros League Season 8. Glue, how has Ultros League treated you?
Awful, horrible. I have not had the best Ultras League season so far, but you know what? I've had fun, and that's what's important. But tonight, Knuckly Kong, Nobody War. As you can see here, the great Dr. TTT has wrapped up first place. Pero and PBJ, they will settle second place this week. But the most important thing of all, Knuckly Kong and Nobody War, they are fighting for it, and that is pride and momentum for season 9. And one of them will claim it, one of them won't have it, and I'm interested to see tonight who will claim it.
Me too. And who knows, in Season 9, they may go in for another war between each other if they get put in the same pod. If not, hey, they could lead each of their pods. Both of them are excellent runners, and excited to see them play tonight.
Yes, indeed. Little added bonus tonight. Nobody War and Knucklycon, they both wagered over 1,000 cookies on this race. So this is also one of the largest wagered cookie races of all time. So history is being made along with all the Ultros League standings. So pretty high stakes tonight. They don't get much higher than this.
Oh, that is a lot of cookies. I know that there was an anonymous donation of cookies to each of them to put towards that wager. So thank you to that anonymous donor.
Yeah, they came in through an anonymous bid. We appreciate that, gentlemen or gentlewomen, what they did tonight. And yeah, thank you very much.
All right, so week 8 of Ultros League. This is our final week. This is definitely going to be either the favorite week of everybody or the least favorite week of everybody, or maybe just the week that they want to get over with. After this, standings will be solidified with, what is it? Everybody gets to drop their lowest 2 times, correct?
Yep, your two worst performances. You're like your lowest time may not actually be your worst performance, but it's your two lowest point totals, which would be considered your worst performances. Get the drop off, so you get the maximum amount of points possible. So we still do have that in tow for Knucklycon, Nobody War, and anybody else that happens to be doing some of the runs out there. But yeah, we are off. We are rocking and rolling. We got Terra, we got Gal, we got Setzer. That is quite the start.
Yeah, we've got GP Rain. I believe I saw X Magic and Throw for Gao. Throw Gao is going to be great to start off with just because he has naturally higher stats and it gives him something to do so he's not just sitting there with, like, say, Runic or Control or Runic
No,
or
that
Steel.
that is an impressive Gal. Now if we can just find dried meat, we would complete the package. But throw Gal, you love to see. He has pretty good stats all around, so it's pretty good magic throwing, pretty good physical throwing. Plus, he has decent speed, so yeah, fantastic throw character if there ever was one.
Yeah. Let's hear. Oh, no dried meat in the first item shop, but that's okay. We've got many more to come.
That we do. Yeah. So we also have Terra. I'm shocked we didn't see Knuckly or Nobody War go straight to Seal Gate, but maybe that's a product of Gal being in the party and wanting to take a few stabs at finding some of the dried meat before you head on to Seal Gate and see what you're doing on Kit. But fully expect them to sooner rather than later head the way on over there.
Yeah, absolutely. I was kind of thinking the same thing. Going for that dried meat first, because that would be a devastating for that to be the first shop that it's in and you totally skip it. Oh, we see a monster in a box play by Knuckly Kong with just some
Ooh,
PM stalkers.
I get a good little peek of what's in store. Nothing wrong with that. We got Nobody War looting the entire beginner's house. Luckily, he's successfully navigated through and didn't trigger any of the conversations with those guys. And man, I hate talking to those guys. Looks like Knuckly Kong's gonna do the same thing. So maybe Knuckly Kong's thinking I know my opponent. I know he's gonna go off the beaten path, which Nobody War tends to do. So maybe he's thinking I'll take a page out of his playbook, and if I can meet him on the battlefield in the exact same spot, we'll just have it out. Let the best Knuckly or best Nobody War win.
I like how you said that. All right, we're getting a returner's hideout looting path here.
Mhm.
Quite a few chests in returners. Tempest is a nice weapon. Oh, Ice
Ooh,
Shield's even
Anna.
better.
Yeah.
I also saw that we picked up a fire rod in the Narsh shed, so we've got some really good early offense. if we wanted to crack some shields and rods.
Yep. Yeah, I think this is also still a product of the dried meat hunt. And I like it because if you're gonna come here anyways, you might as well go ahead and land here while you're flying over it and catch it on your way down. You know, before you go on down the Seal Gate. Same thing if you plan on visiting South Figaro as well. Why fly back over against all over the world when you don't have to if you're gonna come here anyways? Just do it all in one stop.
Exactly. Yep, there's that dried meat. We've got shurikens. We are Gauss set.
We're set, ready to rock and roll. Be interesting to see if we head on right over to the belt, see what's there, then head to the Seal Gate, or maybe a different order of operations. Nope, nobody was going to South Figaro.
You know, normally I would go straight to Sealed Gate, but because we found that dried meat, just go to the Velt and get it over with.
Yeah, it's really tempting to walk past the switch in the Seal Cave, and because that fight is very much repeatable. Infinitely, if you elect to do so, it's really hard to walk past it sometimes and have like a throw character and the ability to clear a lot of fights real fast and not pull it. But if you pull it and it's a level magic fight or something really annoying, well, it's just going to pollute the belt with that encounter. So you would not be out of line whatsoever if you say, you know, let's go do the belt real fast before I even go on over the Seal Gate and knock that out.
Yeah, for sure. I don't know how many times I've gotten a really bad fight there, and then all of a sudden I've got ninjas on my Velt.
Yeah. Yeah,
So
there's
oh, go ahead.
yeah, there's so many awful fixed encounters. You know, anything that's a dinosaur you can't really kill at level 3 consistently. So sending that there is just another roadblock. You know, you mentioned ninjas, anything that does AoE damage is no bueno, and you want nothing to do with. So just a lot of things that could really ruin your day.
Absolutely. So Knuckly Kong is going straight for the Velt. I like this play. But Nobody War has found a very stacked South Figaro World of Balance, too.
Yep. All right. Fun little game. It is 5/8 chance that the reward appears after the Lobo, but how many times will it take Knuckly Kong? Let's find out.
Just one. Come on.
Yeah, that was
Yeah.
quick. That was quick. It turns out it is 5/8.
That is the kind of Velt you want to see. And you know,
Yep, so that
I was going to say, I actually prefer to see an Esper here, just because any fight that I do from now on, I'm going to be learning and I'm going to get any stat boost that we have.
Mhm. Yeah, that's also like, you know, the whole, you know, I imagine the motivation behind both for the rush to find dry meat, because we know that's a character or Esper for sure. And again, you rather find that earlier rather than later, because if the seed is gated by what is at the belt, well, it's if you go a long time to find that information, then you have a really dirty belt with a lot of with counters, and if you found a lot of bad encounters, well, it just makes for a miserable time. It could really be a race loser if you get real unfortunate with that. But also the fact that it's guaranteed character or Esper. We already have 3 pretty good characters, so you know Espers are probably going to be the next thing that makes our party that much stronger or increases our party strength. So it being an Esper is all the better.
Speaking of Espers, we've got a really cheap one here for Zen Thief.
Yeah.
4,000 ish. 4 and 5, between 4 and 5k. I don't remember the exact number. 47.
Yeah, 4,700. That's not bad. That is about 9 Switch 2s worth of GP, so fair price.
Mm-hmm. All right, and Sealed Gate has quite a few treasures in it. I saw your favorite relic, the earrings. We got a pair of those. And also a Minerva. So yeah, like the real Chattius in chat says, Terra's set.
Yeah, Terra's set plus those earrings will also go nice on our resident thrower. Really with that throw Gal, you want to be throwing, especially with that magic power +2 Esper. Yeah, just throw that on Gal. That's fine. It's a couple fire schemes. He is now arguably the best character you could ever have at level 3. Just let him get
Wow.
cooking, let him get going, and we are good.
Did you see that other Esper though? We've got Warp, we've got Ultima, and we've got Life too.
Yeah, this is a pretty juicy start, all things considered. Uh,
Yeah. I mean, in Ultros League, Ultima isn't as great as it could be, say in like Moogle Cup where it's a lot cheaper, but getting that, especially with that Magic +2 Esper from the very start, you know that they're going to learn it. If they can find just a gold hairpin, I mean, that is amazing offense.
Yeah, plus it kind of puts economizers back on your radar. Economizer is one of those things. It's kind of like an offering, and that offering is either incredibly value to you or it's worthless. So it's something like Ultima that early, with a Magic Power +2 sitting around, you could very, very quickly be doing 9999 on anything single target.
And we also found an Atma weapon, so yeah, Terra's pretty much set, being a natural Atma user. And then we have Mog with Magitech and Natural Magic. My goodness, these characters.
Yeah, that is a healthy Mog. Definitely better than his fellow counterparts you get in the Velt encounter, or excuse me, the Moogle defense encounter later on, where they just kind of do nothing.
So what's your play now? Do you follow that Mog, or you say go do Setzer checks, or what's your play?
I think Serpent Trench will be a fantastic move next, especially if we get our hand on some fire skins or water edges or bolt edges. Ideally, more than others, but more elements than others. But if we can get just one of them at least, then you could pretty much one shot anything down there with earrings and that gal, and then checks like Serpent Church are more value to you early, because they don't have a boss attached to them. But the downside is they take a little bit more time. But that's okay because you probably need to take some grind fights somewhere, some way, how, anyways, and you might as well do it when you have a check to do it with.
Yeah, and if you wanted to, I mean that the Serpent Trench puts you off at Nicaea, which isn't too far if you wanted to head up to Narsh again and say do Weltgate or the Moogle checks. All depending on where you're really trying to route and where you're kind of planning to go next, depending on what you find.
Mm-hmm. All
So
right,
yes,
so
Nutley is really pushing scaling, but the amount of offense that we have with a Throw Gal, a Magic Tech Mog, a GP Rain Para, there's not a lot out there that he couldn't take unless he just gets really, really unlucky with random encounters.
yeah, that's always kind of the risk when you push scaling, is that maybe if you get a string of tougher encounters, you just can't survive long enough to kill them. But with that Minerva, with the red jacket, plus some of the other defensive equipment we found, that's pretty much the recipe for being able to push scaling high and getting away with it, because we have an Ice Shield, a Thunder Shield, red jacket Minerva. Elemental nullification is the secret to pushing your scaling, 4, 5, 6 checks and then continuing on, because anything that kills you this early from a fixed counter is going to have an element staple to it. So being able to have a diverse pool of elements to nullify, you can just sit there and tickle the boss away as long as they can't kill you. And that is a strength +2 Esper as well. I think where is all of this coming from? This is something.
No, but this is never in my seeds. Plus, it had
No.
Mute and X Zone, so now we've got our Instant Death and our Mute for Final Kefka already.
Yeah, even the warp on the Esper is secretly underrated, and that now we don't have to worry about warp stones in the slides anymore. We just have warp, and yeah, that problem is solved. But let me ask you this, Joya. We got strength +2, we got magic power +2, we got a Minerva, we got water edges, we got just about anything you could ever want to start a seed. Where are you slapping those Espers and why?
Ooh, so this may be where Tonic versus Mega Elixir is way different, but I would put that Strength +2 on Terra and the Magic +2 on Gao.
Hmm.
Just because since Terra is that natural Atma user, if we can have that on there from level 3 on, I mean, she's going to be hitting quad 9s. So
Yeah, I would agree because Gao is your offense now, and then Mog can be secondary offense later on, and then just kind of go from there. But yeah, Gao is like the secret to unlocking the early game and getting flying to the mid game. Him throwing schemes. I know Tech Missile, excuse me, Volt Beam, Fire Beam, Ice Beam, etc. They're powerful level 2 spell, but the animation is slower. They don't hit everything on the screen. Um, just throwing skeins is gonna cover us for the next 30 minutes if we just buy enough skeins.
yeah. So South Figaro World of Ruin so far has definitely not been as lucrative as the World of Balance. And Swans, I was kind of thinking the same thing. Is what are you looking for? Why go here and not just try to get the seed off the ground?
Yeah, I'm a little bit curious about that as well. Maybe they're just trying to cover some bases, go to the common spots, and make sure you got everything the seed is giving you to work with. But yeah, that's got to be it. 'Cause we've had more than enough for a few minutes now.
That being said, Nobody War was able to stock up on all three of the types of throwables, elemental throwables. So
There you go.
he is ready to go.
And it looks like nobody, Knuckly Khan's going to Narsh. This is interesting because we have two encounters here that give us some, or two checks that can give us some fixed encounters. But maybe he's gonna walk. Oh, maybe he's getting more earrings. Maybe he's
No,
getting a fairy ring. Nope. Maybe we
yeah,
misremembered what Narsh had for sale.
I'm not sure we've actually seen earrings in a shop yet. And Knuckly Kong is noping out of Narsh. Probably gonna go try something else. And Nobody War taking their first grind fight
Ooh.
against Chaser and Pipsqueaks.
This is pretty nice, but just because the Bolt Edge or a Water Edge is going to take care of business for us here. Well, maybe one or two, but Bolt Beam as well. Anything that looks like a machine in Final Fantasy VI is weak to water and electricity, or Bolt Edge, thunder, whatever you want to call it. But yeah, pretty fortunate fight here. Plus the Pipsqueak go down one shot, and yeah, there we go. Nice. That's done.
So here's a question for you. This is a noob question from me.
Mhm.
If the Chaser summons more Pipsqueaks, do you get extra XP from the added mobs?
Do you? I don't think you do.
Where I was leaning to, but again, there is so much about this that I don't know still.
Oh, I do
We
know
run.
this. I know this for sure. You don't want to stick around for this fight.
Yep, this is a run.
Yeah. Yeah, this is either for the memes or we just want to do a warp stone. Just for good
Oh,
measure, queue up 2 warp stones in case that happens. Okay, yeah, we're fine.
Mog for the win there.
Yeah. All right, so South Figaro is deadly in the World of Ruin. Knuckle Kong is in the same neighborhood as the outside of Madam, so maybe he will take off his Moogle Charm right outside of town and bless us with some more fun shenanigans. Let's see. Oh, is he going to do it? Can we will him into it? No, we don't want the Moogle Charm. We want the Moogle Charm off. Yeah,
Oh, I
there we
think we're
go.
gonna do it.
Yeah, take it off. Take it. No, go back to the left. Remove is what we want. All right.
Oh
No,
no!
he wore. So speaking of bosses that have AOE attacks, Chimera is one of those, and he can do some water attacks at you, which isn't a big deal if you're a little more leveled up. But when you're level 3, Chimera is a ticking time bomb. If you can't absorb any water attack he throws at you, but we're out of there. Back to beginner's house. Let's hit that water bucket, and yeah.
I think that got my heart beating too fast.
Yeah. Ooh, this landworm is nice.
Yes, it is.
Yeah. Yeah, ice. Yeah, so landworm will counter with in the middle game encounters, I think was Sandstorm, and Sandstorm hurts, but scaled down, there's not a lot of scary things he can throw at you, so he just kind of tickles you. But he gives pretty decent experience for what he is, and yeah, we're through.
There you go. You've got your levels for a while.
You can also instant death the landworms, by the way, which is comes in handy if you have some more higher espers.
And this Naughty is living up to its namesake on Knuckly Kong's side.
All right, so we got a question from the chat from Brybon. First off, Brybon, how you doing tonight? Hope you're doing well. Second off, the answer to your question for me, never Elite River, never Elite River, never Elite River.
I feel
Yeah,
like you might have something against Lee River.
I definitely would have. I like obviously you don't go anywhere outside of Madame Czar. You just get out of there and run away. But I think the Super Trench would kind of would have fit the needs of what we're trying to do here. Walking around in one spot, we can get fixed encounters in a river, and at the same time push our way through that river towards a check. So that would have been a good play here. Lee River is there's more seriously, there's nothing wrong with it. It kind of does the same thing. It's just there's a boss staple to it at the end. But 3 of the encounters are the same. So if that encounter is pretty good like a landworm, then well you're pretty fortunate. But also at the same time, if that's outside of Madams at that 3 spots, well then you are unfortunate, and it just kind of is what it is.
Yeah, unfortunately with this Naughty fight, you can't run away from it. Yeah, like chat says, she's there to eat time during your floating continent escape in the vanilla run.
Yeah.
This is really unfortunate for Knuckly Kong, and he's gotten this twice now. On the flip side, Nobody War doing the Search the Skies fight, finding Narapa. Very easy boss fight, especially if you wanted to throw out an X zone. But otherwise, you can just beat her down very easily for a dead check, unfortunately.
Fortunately, it's a force shield. Not the best jet check, but you know what? It's experience. We kind of, Nobody War, we started off 4-3 before we did anything. We pushed ourselves ahead of scaling, but now that we've done some fights and now we've done even a boss and then push up the scaling anymore, we're a little more in line with what everything we will be fighting as far as levels.
And I'm guessing it's because of that experience that Nobody War is probably doing Tomb over the free call engine check just to get that boss experience at the end of this.
Yeah, and this is another unfortunate counter for Knuckly Kong. Goblin and his friends, the schemes are not going to work very well against them. But we do have Shurikens, but that's going to be a little bit slower. So they do have a decent amount of HP with this formation.
I think my question for these runners at the end is definitely going to be, why not just go Serpent Trench for the grind fights? That being said, Serpent Trench could be filled with level magic, and it might be a moot point anyway.
Yeah, Serpent Trench can be just as dangerous as, the overworld, so sometimes it just ships out that way. Nobody War. I think Nobody War is going to do this monster box because we've done one, or we peaked one already. I think monster boxes, especially with the Atma weapon, are in his future. And yep, is this the one? It is not the one.
Not the one.
It is the one you Warpstone from.
Yeah, Master Pug doesn't really give anything. It gives a Gradius, but nothing our runners are going to want.
It gives a headache.
That too. That too. Ooh, Siren. We already have Mute,
yeah.
but I mean, having a second form of Mute is just as good, and that is a Dataluma.
Yeah. Pretty fortunate with the bosses so far, the Rappa and the Dataluma. If you're going to see easier bosses, kind of want to see them earlier because once your offense is developed, that Atma weapon's online, they're less scary. And now Goblin is doing Goblin things. Whenever you see the sprite, whether it's this one or the Floating Continent one or the third one that I always forget about, when he is left alone, he does things like this: level 4 Flare, level 3 Muddle, level 5 Doom, and don't ever leave him alive last because this is what can happen to you.
Oh, that is so nasty. That is so unfortunate.
Yeah. Unfortunately, Terra switched teams mid-fight. And now, while Knuckly has been struggling with those encounters, Nobody War has done Search the Skies. He has done Daryl's Tomb, and now we're finding level magic. Fun fact: you can rememberify that level magic at the bottom. Counterpoint to that is, why would you ever do that? Because you
Yeah,
just make the other ones mad and give them their ATB fills to do annoying things to you.
Knuckly is getting so unlucky with these random encounters.
Yes, he is.
On the flip side, that Siren had Osmos, so paired that with the Ultima that we learned earlier, that all of a sudden puts that on the table for really powerful offense after doing a couple dragons, like the first one that Nobody War is doing now.
Yeah, it's dragon killing time in the sea for Nobody War. We got the Ice Beam. I don't think we have any magic. Oh, we do have Ice too. That's right, we have an Ice Shield. So he's got some Ice spells, and that is the recipe for a fast red dragon fight. So yeah, get some
Oh
spells,
yeah,
get some
this
experience. Yeah, plus
this is the
another.
dragon that you want to see.
Yeah, red dragon's pretty tame. Even if he's kind of outscaled you, you can muddle him. He'll unmuddle himself, but if you just let like a lesser character muddle him and everybody else attack, you'll get him in like the cycle where he can't attack you. He just spends all of his turns getting himself unmuddled, and you kind of like neutralize him. But when you have Ice Beam, when you have all the things Nobody War does, you just take him on head on and get through it. So luckily in the trench now though, I like this now from Meckley. We tried the fixed counters, in various spots and just wasn't working out. So, come here, and then if you run away from it, so be it. But start working towards another check somehow.
Yeah, for sure. Just a behemoth suit from the Red Dragon, which is nice. It is good offense. But we also learned that Ultima.
Nice.
So that is now on the table. Once we get enough MP. We also learned Float, which means later on for Tier 1, you can pretty much go ham after you cast that Float and take care of everything all at once.
Yep. We can also cast Quake on ourselves if we really, really wanted to. Don't even need to equip the Gaia gear. Just fire away. Nobody War going over the Narsh now with Terra, with Mog. This is the perfect lineup to go into Narsh. The only way this could be any better is you happen to have a lock and you already done the World of Ruin weapon shop and get the other part of the check in the back of Wiltgate, but nope. Wartbuck and Ogre are giving Knuckle Kong the business. Luckily, he can't die because he has character snoozed away, but runs away anyway, so that's okay. We get to this spot, we can get into the menu, recover, and then go on about our business.
Yeah, that's nice. The nice thing about the Serpent Trench is it does have this little rest area. While it doesn't have a save point, it does give you a chance to kind of heal up and take a small breather just to get back on your feet if things go bad.
Yeah, surely this next fight will be a little tamer.
Are you trying to inflict a commentator curse here?
No, not at all. This is going to be behemoths. A wizard. A wizard's very killable, and we'll get to level 7 or 8 off of this. And the next one, we'll get a double behemoth, which is kind of scary, but I think we have pretty good defense, and we'll just Ice Beam it down and get a bunch of levels, and we'll be back on our way.
Oh, there we go.
Yeah, we all gained a few levels. We're fine now. Trend in the
Actually,
right direction.
with the offense that we have, just give us a double Gigantos with their weak magics defense. Just give us one of those.
So this is a little scarier than what it appears, but we do have an Ice Shield equipped on somebody, so he can't wipe us, but we're fine. Just Fire Screen. Yeah, there we go. That's better. That's pretty good experience. Get out of the trench, and we should be double digit in level now for Knuckle Kong. And on the left side of your screen, we got Doom, more Doom, and then at the top of the hour, we have Doom for you. Just, are we going to be frozen? No, only one person.
Yeah, that's not bad at all. And pretty much as long as he doesn't nullify fire,
Mm-hmm.
we should have a pretty good chance of getting through this pretty well. And that was a Celis.
That it was, and that makes that Magitech Mog a little more interesting because now we know we can get Tech Missile online if we so desire. There's some fire schemes and bolt schemes, but enough we call saying no, I'm good with the what I have. Excuse me, bolt edges, not bolt schemes. All right, we're at the halfway point of the Doom fight for a Nobody War. We're about to see the halftime celebration. The fireworks go off, and now he just punches us. He can't freeze us anymore, but he just punches us. He punches a little harder now sometimes, but at least he tells us where he's punching us.
Yeah, he's really nice about that. Very polite guy.
Yeah. Yeah, of all three of the War and Triad, he definitely has the most manners, the most amount of manners, whatever you want to call it.
I think you worded it well. We'll
Thank
go
you.
with that. Yeah. Yeah, he has mannerisms.
Yeah, he was raised right, as we say here in the South.
He was raised right, yes.
All right. Doom down. Nobody War through. I don't think Nobody War saved, so that was like one of those little moments throughout the seed where things go wrong. They can go really wrong, but we'll never know. He's through. He gets an ice shield, though. But
Not what
that's
you want
okay.
to see.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Did Nobody War trigger the lone wolf scene?
He did. Yes, he did
Okay,
remember
good,
to go into the shed.
Okay, good.
So we found that Celis on Knuckly Kong. Does that make your next play just full clear Magitech?
I think eventually, maybe not immediately because Knuckly Kong is still a little bit higher in the scaling because of the boss the fixed encounter shenanigans that happened before. So sooner rather than later. But speaking of sooner rather than later, I swear to gosh, if Nobody War goes against his word and does not do the right thing tonight, he said he would. He said he would. I'm going to Jet to Time. I'm done.
You can't do that to us.
Yeah, Snow Muffler or the Snow Muffler. What a tough choice.
Yeah, I mean, no matter what, you get a snow muffler, which is what you're really looking for, right, Glue?
Yeah, so Nobody War is clearly going to put the Shimaro into his party.
Oh. No! Shall I visit you in Jets of Time? And Glue has left the chat.
All right, I'm back. I'm a professional. I'll finish out this restream and then we'll talk about the situation.
Wait, no. He had a plan. Did you just see what he did?
Oh, what did he do?
So he used the Kefka Narsh encounter to be able to unequip all of Setzer so that he can do the party switch and put Yeti in now without having to do an extra screen transition and party swap.
Oh yeah, see, Nobody War's a smart guy. He knew what he was doing. That was wrong of me to doubt him. I apologize. It's like Knuckly Kong is entering his dragon portion, killing of the seed, and we got Ice Dragon hanging around in the Ice Dragon of all spots. Yeah, Nobody War.
Oh, go ahead.
Nobody War, a man of great character, strong ethics, obviously, and I apologize for doubting him. Yeah, this is I imagine at some point Knuckly Kong will work his way up here as well to do Lone Wolf with Terra and the party, just kind of do a full Narsh circuit. And I think he'll end up regretting this. This is kind of always the risk when you do Wold or Ruin Narsh early, is that the Dragon and the Trituck is nice in itself, but if you ever find Yamaru later, you kind of regret doing it. But it's, there's also the chance you never do anyway, so.
Did you happen to see if there was anything in the Yeti spot? I did not. Whenever we were
Uh,
climbing World of Balance Narsh.
I don't think there was a character plus with the Celeste Go-Go, plus a lot of other checks left. It's highly unlikely Yamaru is required to beat the seed. But if it's an Esper, it's a nice little combination. The dragon and the two Esper spots. It's all in one spot, and that's like kind of like one of the main things in Worlds Collide is if you can be efficient with your round, you give yourself a chance to be competitive in any race.
We've had a raid from Amalas with a party of 13. Welcome in. We are in the Week 8 race of Ultros League 8 for Elixir B, Nobody War versus Knuckly Kong.
Yep, and nobody won Knuckle Kong. They are buying for fourth place, for some pride, momentum for season 9, and most importantly, they are battling for over 2,000 cookies, 2,600 cookies. My apologies, the greatest prize of all.
Yeah, but those cookies are going to be going away pretty soon, aren't they? So what do you do with so many cookies?
They said they were going to take the Twinkie away, but it came back, so that's I think that's what's going to happen here.
Yeah, but the Twinkie needs to go away.
Say what now?
I said nothing.
All right, so we got Guardian at the Tritalk spot. Was that a second Magic Power Plus 2 Esper for Nobody War we have?
I think it was, unless it was one that we already had that kind of moved places in the line.
Maybe that Siren pushed it down. The pecking
Maybe.
order.
Oh yeah, because I think it's Ifrit.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay.
All right. So we're passing all the wolves. And we're gonna get wolves anyways. Never mind. Red Wolf and Marshall. It's actually probably the easiest thing that you can pair Marshall with.
Yeah. With Worlds Collide, he can have some really nasty friends show up with him. Looking at you, retainers.
Yeah. Yeah, some of the things like Doom Dragons you could, in the game if you were to pair them with, they kind of don't fit on the screen in the spots they sit in. My counter to that is like just pair them with some Entangers. I know they kind of, hang off the screen, but honestly, you would never know, so it would make for a fun fight.
Blue, I don't even know you anymore. What kind of man are you?
All right, Knuckly Kong is through his Guardian fight. He will be rewarded with an Esper or an item. And it's gonna be an item. Hopefully, it's a good one.
Yeah.
Ooh, that's the best one you can get.
That is definitely a good one.
Yeah. All right, so that will give Knuckly some of those levels you missed out on earlier with some of those fixed encounter shenanigans. He's slapping that on his Celeste. I assume Celeste is at his Strike plus 2 Esper, so he's gonna, really investing in Celeste and that future Atma weapon usage. All right, nobody war done with Narsh. He doesn't have the Celeste, so maybe the airship is pointing at the direction of the Celeste though, so he may have it sooner, may have her sooner rather than later, and yes, he will. So he's gonna go do what Knuckly did while he was doing Search the Skies and Daryl's Tomb, and meanwhile Knuckly's gonna go do what Nobody was doing during that time and go do Search the Skies and possibly Daryl's Tomb after this and get the Espers like Siren that Nobody War has access to.
Yes. Have we seen the free check and calling gen though?
It was an Esper.
Oh, it was an Esper. Okay.
Yeah.
My fault. I was looking probably at Knuckly Kong's screen and missed that.
Yeah, that's one of the mini Espers they both have. Oops. Yep, and this was a Behemoth suit, correct? Not Force Shield, not even that nice, but yeah, that was dead. Siren's at Daryl's Tomb, but maybe Knuckly Kong heads on Loper House. Yeah, he's gonna go kill this Fire Dragon for the. This was the Behemoth suit, so they're retracing
Yes.
their footsteps a little bit. So it'll be a little while while Knuckly Kong and Nobody War work their way through these checks before we get some new information. But let me ask you this, Tuea. We've seen Knuckly Kong falter a little bit with his fixed encounter shenanigans, and Nobody War's kind of separated himself. What do you think Knuckly Kong has to do to get himself back into this race and catch up the time Nobody War has separated himself with from him?
Well, that egg really helps.
Mhm.
For one thing, that is definitely going to kind of close that gap a little bit, at least on one of his characters, depending on who he puts it on.
Mhm.
Honestly, at this point, I'm going to try to take as many multi-boss checks as possible. So I'm looking at um, Magitech, just because it's going to have all those encounters. It's going to have 4 bosses, and really take advantage of the XP that they can give me, along with the extra progression to kind of help me close that gap.
Yeah, I think that egg is kind of like, the secret, the blessing, because Nobody War doesn't have it. And with an Atma weapon wearer, that's so huge because a handful of levels, the difference between even if we never find an offering, that's like the difference between doing 4,000 a swing and 8,000 a swing, just a handful of levels. So that alone is a catch up mechanism if you can capitalize on it. But Nobody War's got his Celeste. That's character number 6. So we just need 4 more Espers on the left side of the screen. So remains to be seen if that will be enough to allow him to catch up.
Yeah. Let's hear. What has Knuckly Kong done that Nobody War hasn't? I think the only thing he's done is World of Ruin Narsh,
Yeah.
and that was 2 dead checks. So he has to do something that we haven't seen yet in order to find those last 4 espers. So again, we're looking at Magitech, or we're looking at Opera House, even though that's probably not going to be on the table now. And then more of Terra's checks.
Mhm. All right. So Commando in the Healing Shack and Vector. Um, yeah, Knuckle Claw is going to give some new information. If you need Espers, Magic Check Factory is a great spot to go because the first 2 checks can only be an Esper or an item, and then we get a guaranteed character or Esper at the end of it. So either A, you get more Espers, a bunch of Espers, or B, you at least get a character that can possibly lead to more Espers.
So
Plus a
Blue,
handful. Hmm.
are you okay? Are you having a little bit of PTSD right now with Yeti being left on the airship?
I've actually been filling out a sign up form for Jet to Time. I'll hit submit here in a minute, but I'll be doing that on the side while we finish out this broadcast, and then after that, we'll remains to be seeing what happens. But I'm fully aware of the situation that Nobody War is done here.
Well, we'll just put that down as a question for the interview.
All right, so Knuckly, um, Ifrit spot again. This can only be an Esper or an item. Nobody War I fully expect to be making his way here as well shortly because again we just need 4 more Espers. And if you need Espers, go to the spot that can only be Espers or items.
Exactly. Yeah, he's heading into
Yeah, he's right
Magitech as
outside.
well.
He's gonna check some item shops though. Ooh,
Uh,
Skybringer, Sniper, Ninja Star. Oh, that Ninja Star is nice.
nice. Question in chat from Chadius. No, Gauntlet does not work with the Atma weapon, unfortunately.
Yeah, it does not improve the damage. You can technically equip it at weapon a gauntlet and just forego your shield slot if you really want to for some reason, but no, it does not work the same way it does. It does not work in the same intentions as with an Illumina or a Ragnarok where you're trying to increase damage. All right, so tunnel armor down. Shiva is the reward. Coincidence? I think not. And just another ultimate Esper if the first one wasn't enough.
Yeah, but more importantly, we've got Berserk on there.
Yeah.
So if we do run into a Magimaster, at least we've got a way to deal with him as
Mhm.
long as we can learn that Berserk in time.
Yeah, this tunnel armor will be no trouble for Nobody War. Number 24 spot, and that is the Three Stooges.
At these levels, the Three Stooges are fine. We have
No.
ways to deal with them.
Yeah, we got, we can X zone if we wanted to. We can Ice 2 the top guy. If you're ever unsure what element they absorb, just look at their color and it tells you the element that is staple to them. So the red guy, he is red. Well, he's fire. As we see Firestar coming out, so just ice him and you're good to go. You can also instant death the blue guy on the left side of your screen. He can be, Odin, X-Zoned, Doom, those type of things. He can also be Ultimate.
I mean, everything's weak to Ultima. I've said that from the beginning.
Mhm. All right, Nobody War will tango with the Stooges as well in just a moment. Yeah, those Shurikens are already doing 2,000 damage, so healthy amount.
Yeah, that's nice. Mike, Meteor, yeah, it's a good spell. Especially for this last guy because he doesn't have an elemental weakness anyway.
Mhm.
But if you have the other elements for the other two, I think it's probably faster just to try to focus fire on each of them instead of waiting for the meteor animation to go off on everything.
All right, Knuckle Kong through. Nobody War not far behind. And this is gonna be an interesting minecart ride because we just found Berserk, but there are a few things. The plus side of Magic Factory is there's a lot of experience, a lot of pieces of progression here. The downside is you have to go a long way through this minecart portion of the factory to get to some bosses, and if you get to those bosses and you don't make it through the fight, it's a huge time loss. Some of the largest time losses you can experience in the game. But just the transitions, the fixed encounters, it's just some time invested to find out some bad news. So this is low key one of those pivotal moments in the seed for Knuckle Kong to catch up. Maybe Nobody Were falters here and he doesn't, or something like that.
On the flip side, if these are really good grind fight encounters,
Mhm.
I mean, hey, well, they're not really great grind fight encounters, but I was gonna say that could really help you as well.
Yeah, these are good fights for the ones that don't get sneezed away.
Exactly.
All right, that's double Esper for Nobody War, and also obviously Knuckle Kong. But first fight down, pretty good experience, pretty good GP. So see what else we're working on the minecart.
You know, one of the things I've noticed, looking at Knuckly Kong's levels and Nobody War's levels, uh, Knuckly Kong has pretty much closed the gap. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
so I don't think there's really a big difference at this point, other than the 2 extra espers that Nobody War has.
Yeah, and that's also a product of being aggressive with his menuing. He didn't save between the fights, between the Shiba fight and number 24. He just kind of sent it. That gives him a few seconds back. While that obviously isn't the difference between everything that happened to him earlier or not, but that in chunks here and there where you can gain that back by taking that risk is a way back into a race type situation. All right, boss number 1, and we have Haydn and the Haydn Knights. Pretty good boss to find in the mid game.
For sure.
He's decent experience, and if you have things like Fire 3 or just better offense, he's easily taken care of. If you run into him early, it's really annoying because things like Poison do a larger percentage of damage to your HP pool when you are like level 10 or whatever. But when you're level 30, it does next to nothing.
Can the little guys be X-zoned?
Some of them, well, one of them can.
Okay.
Maybe 2 of them. I don't remember. Not all of them are weak to fire though. The bottom left one does absorb fire, so that's kind of the drawbacks if you ever fire skin them.
Yeah, but not for Knuckly Kong over here. He is getting through that really quick. That
Yeah.
Gao is doing incredible damage with those throwables because we
Yep.
had that magic +2 Esper on him.
All right, so little slept on fact we haven't mentioned in a few minutes is that we're going to unlock the full tech missile. when we make our way through the end of Magic Factory for that Mog. So we have a throw, we have an Atma weapon, we have Fire 3, we have Ultima. Well, now we'll have Tech Missile. No shortage of offense for our runners and tackle anything they want to tackle.
Well, that EXP egg is definitely doing wonders for Knuckly. His Celis is level 40 right now. You can't hate it.
Ooh, and that's a lock. So this is very nice for a number of reasons. One, I don't think Knuckly Kong's done the Wilt Gate spot. And two, now he just, Knuckly Kong is the same territory as Nobody Wars. We just need Espers. So that Walter Ruin Narsh weapon spot, that's going to give us a chance at an Esper or an item or two items. And Knuckly Kong would really benefit from an offering here if he can stumble across one. And if there's we're about to have two possible chances at an offering in that weapon shop. So if there's an offering in there, and he's going to for sure get it some way somehow, and that's going to make that Celeste even more exciting. All right, Rizzo pass, but first, before you can pass, you must kill Rizzo Pass's friends in some order. What the order is or how many you have to kill is unknown, but not too many of them. Once a certain amount of time has gone on, you clear the screen of all the fish, Rizzo Pass will show up, and a little bit of lower roll on the time it takes for Rizzo Pass to show up today.
Yeah, definitely not the slowest fish that we can encounter. Now, I believe it's going to be the same on both screens, so both runners will get the same fish fight.
Yeah, it's the same amount of time it takes to pass. If you're really quick with your inputs, you can maybe experience more fish popping up on your screen than someone else, or the reverse. If you're faster, you can get less. But nevertheless, once that timer ticks down, clear the fish that are in front of you, and he will appear. Lock and tow, Nobody War, or excuse me, Knuckly Kong heading up to Narsh World of Ruin. Nobody War has not done the checks at the top of Narsh World of Ruin, so with block, maybe he heads on up there, because again, he just needs Espers, and there could be an Esper up there. We know it's an experience thing, but again, he may do it because he's in the neighborhood.
Well, if he does do that, that's going to give some time maybe back to Knuckly Kong. Yes, they both did those checks, but it gives him a chance to kind of find the last Espers that he needs while Nobody War is chasing dead checks.
All right, where does Knuckly Kong go next? I would expect that Dragon Horn isn't going to push the envelope too much, but it is a check, and we are kind of teetering close towards check skip now for both of our runners, I would assume.
Now the question is, so will Knuckly go ahead and trigger all the Mog stuff?
I don't know about all the Mog stuff, but definitely Welk into Lone Wolf / Kefka at Narsh is a nice forte for a Narsh World of Balance trip. Looks like he may be listening to the broadcast, because that's exactly what he's doing. No, more seriously, that this is perfectly fine. Actually, really, really, really good. It's either this or Block's other quick checks are kind of the best checks left to him at the moment. You don't want to go do Terra's longer checks. You don't want to go do Zonier with Gogo. You rather do that at the beginning of the seed or never, because it's just massive time investments just for one check versus minimal time investment, because less time travel between the checks up here. They're all in one spot, so this is really nice, really, really nice by Knuckly Kong. All right, Nobody Wears now one character away from skip by virtue of having that Yamaro Knuckly does not have yet.
Yeah, which if Knuckly goes up to Lone Wolf, which it looks like he will be doing, I bet you're going to be able to see your Yeti take on Final Kefka, because Knuckly's going to keep him in the party.
Yeah, Knuckly is a man of the highest character. He is just like Doom. He was raised with a lot of manners bestowed into him. And let's actually, how do you put up a prediction? There we go.
His mama taught him right.
Yeah.
Well, Mike, sometimes people surprise you. Sometimes they let you down, and you just never know.
All right, we got a prediction up with channel points. Will Knuckly Kong take Yamaro into the party? You got 30 seconds to predict because Knuckly Kong will be up there pretty quickly. So if you want to throw a prediction out there, what Knuckly Kong will do with the Yamaro situation, get him on in. All right, we're through the Doom fight. I think he's gonna go back and get this dragon horn because of the check count situation. Yeah, Ice Shield, Dragon Horn, not the best combination you want, but we'll take it. It's checks.
Yeah. I mean, I would do this just like you said, just for the checks. He's a little farther away from character skip than Nobody War is. However, that's going to change very soon.
Yeah, I think the question is not so much does he do it or not. It's just a matter of who does he drop him for.
I mean, who would you drop?
Probably whoever I didn't invest the Espers into. And at this point, I think that's probably gonna be Terra. All right. Halt! Don't move, or this one does. Famous last words for a snow muffler. All right. So
All
Nobody
right.
War Guardian at the Tritalk spot. He will finally get his experience egg, the first one of the seed we have seen before. But that is a launcher. That is a we're in a situation now.
Ooh,
Smart
taking out
move.
the Gao.
Yeah, interesting. Smart move by Knucklecon there to make sure that that was indeed Yamaro and checking the status menu, and he wasn't by chance playing a Zozo seed and some shenanigans were afoot. You want to make sure you got the real deal when you do this.
Yeah, and we don't want those fake Umaros.
All right, do you remember what the fight was for this here? I don't think it was anything particularly exciting.
I don't. If I think about it hard enough, I might get to it, but yeah, I don't think. Because Tunnel Armor was Moogle Defense. No. Marshall and Red Wolf was Moogle Defense. So yeah, I don't remember what this one is.
All right, experience egg, nobody war, no Esper, but he just needs one more, and he does have the Yamaro, so he can go back into this cave. Take a stab at the offering if he wants to in the monster box down here. Plus, we know this is not a character; it'll be an Esper or an item. Oh no, we triggered the first wave of brown Imperial sprites, so we gotta deal with at least two of these.
Oh, I hate it whenever I do that.
Yeah, fortunately, the one he ran into is gonna trigger right next to him where you can't avoid it.
Okay, so moment of truth is whether or not this Yeti check is an Esper for Nobody War, or is it going to be a dead check?
We'll find out pretty fast because it's gonna say the screen's gonna flash, and yes, it is an Esper. So this is Esper number 9.
This will be unlocked for Nobody War.
Yep, and Papa Shango informing us he is at 20 checks, so just 2 more checks, and he will have Kefka Tower skip. He did the Opera House Dragon already, but we can just go to Kefka's Tower itself and do the middle lane for the Toilet Atma spot, which is considered a check, along with the Gold Dragon spot in the middle lane. And that is 2 checks. That is 2 high tier items. Maybe it's an offering. Maybe it's another big sword we can utilize. Maybe it's just more armor we can't equip. But nevertheless, it's going to be some experience. Plus the check skip.
Exactly. The more important thing is the check skip at this point. No, that's right. It's Dullahan for this fight. I completely forgot that we saw this guy.
Yeah, we won't be seeing him too long, though.
Not at all.
Alright, so I think Nobody War is pretty well set up for the deal with the challenges at Kefka's Tower. He's got 3, well, 4 really good characters. The Throw Gal, the Peck Missile, Mog, Celeste, doing Celeste things, and then Terra doing the Atma weapon stuff. So yeah, that's all 4 characters can ignore defense with some attacks. That's a recipe for success. That's a recipe to get to some of the tougher fights in the game. So yeah, he is pretty well set up. It's just a matter of can he do it fast enough to keep Knuckly Kong in the rearview mirror.
So I know that we have instant death, we have mute, we have phantom. Have we gotten any other forms of good calmness protection for tier 3?
I don't think I've seen Life 3 on an Esper yet. I don't think we've seen Quick either. So unfortunately, we don't have access to Quick, which allows you to leapfrog the damage cap with one character. So I
Yeah.
guess the answer is no. But I think we're also in the scenario where it doesn't matter if a character or two goes down because when you have 4 superstar characters, you can do tier 4 Final Kefka with shockingly little if you're comfortable with the battle script. The problem is just getting there with minimally comically low amounts of characters or abilities left. But
Yeah.
with 2 of them, if we get there with 2 of them, I think we'll be just fine.
Yeah, that kind of emphasizes what I was going to say next is with runners of this caliber, uh, while calmness protection is nice, it is not necessary
Mhm.
because at this point, with the experience these runners have, they've learned to do a lot with less. And that is pretty amazing.
All right, Ultros number 2 by virtue of the pincer formation here. Not going to be long for this seed anymore. He has been booted. Nobody worries through the toilet that much, but which is the scarier of the two, because the dragons are no threat to him, but that could have been a sticky situation. Speaking of sticky situation, that's a Ragnarok, and I fully expect that to stick to one of Terra or Celeste's hands. Maybe even the one with the Atmo, because I think we have a Genji Glove.
We do have a Genji glove
Yeah.
because we got it from the dead check at Ice Dragon spot?
Yeah.
No.
Something like that.
Yeah? Yeah, something like that. I don't know. It's all running together. However, that is definitely one of the dead check items that you would love to see as a last find.
Yeah. It's always weird when you find Genji Glove earlier, 'cause you're like, there's sometimes where I'd rather just have 20,000 GP than banking on getting 2 swords, but when it's the reverse, you have all the swords, and you're like, man, I really should have had a Genji Glove, and then it shows up. It's just fantastic feeling. That's a 9999 out of a tech missile. Can't do much more damage than that.
Oh yeah, that was beautiful. Knuckly Kong picking up his Phantom Esper. Probably going to... Oh, where would Knuckly Kong go at this point?
Auction house, if he wants to get creative.
Maybe Peak Mobliz?
Yeah. War to Ruin, War to Balance, Zen is an option as well. Oh. Yeah, this is a quick option. South Figaro Cave with lock and tow.
Yeah.
Right. Moment of truth for Nobody War. This is one of those few moments that you don't really have much control of. Sometimes you can put the wrong character in the wrong spot. But again, we have 4 super strong characters, so I don't think that'll be much of an issue. Right, this is Goddess. This is new information. Nobody War didn't do this, so maybe this is an Esper. That's like another way to make up some ground or get our requirements, because Knuckly Khan's going to be close to the check skip as well himself. And maybe he ends up there with his requirements at the same time, and he doesn't have to do the middle lane in Kefka's Tower to get there.
Yeah, depending on where he decides to go next and what the bosses are. Like I said, say if he goes and does the peekable check at Mobliz, if it's 2 easy variations of Ultros, then that kind of makes up the time
And here is
Luckily,
one of those situations of putting the right character in the right spot. We have access to Berserk, so this guy is 100% now basically a Lobo. We just have with a little bit more HP. But if this could have been, maybe maybe Celeste over here with a single target atma weapon, this could have been a sticky situation. But we have the gal over here. We have Berserk. We're throwing things. We're stealing Elixir just to show off now. So pretty fortunate here for Nobody War that this situation presented itself where it did.
yeah, no kidding. This is great. Great for Nobody War. And that elixir is very nice. So what are we doing with? It looks like we're doing a Phoenix
Phoenix
Cave
Cave?
play.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Maybe this is an Esper and the dragon we need for Skip. So we're taking a risk here. Maybe it's a character. That character, maybe that's Cyan, and we can go run and do Domo Siege real fast for a check for an Esper. Could be a lot of things, but bold move here because we gotta walk quite a bit to get through this cave.
Yeah, Phoenix Cave is unfortunately one of those checks that I tend to fade. Much to my chagrin whenever it actually is important.
All right, so Nobody War put his Mog with his Go-Go in the middle lane. I like that because Mog's doing 9999 with the Tech Missile. And if he's doing that against a Lobo, he'll do that against Kefka because it ignores defense. So it doesn't matter. It's doing 9999 everywhere. Plus with Go-Go into just slap an earring and a Moogle Charm, let him mimic it, and you can, between ATB pills for his Mog, he can just, throw out another 2,000 damage just because.
Yeah, and I think Nobody War got his Go-Go later than Knuckly did, so that Go-Go's higher level than Knuckly's will be if he decides to make the same play.
All right, we're going to do the right side first with Celeste and the artist formerly known as Yamaro. And, yeah. And it's just a Tritalk, so nothing you can't handle with an Atma Weapon or Fire 3. Or
Yeah,
even Fire 2.
and a Yeti.
Yeah.
Yeah, Nobody War is going to make really quick work of this Tritalk. This is another one, like, depending on what the seed gives you, if you don't have fire and you put people in that can't ignore defense, I mean, Tritalk can be very difficult to get through.
Yeah.
I've heard stories of people wailing on it for 6 damage apiece just to get it down.
Yeah, but he has really low magic defense, so if you're fortunate just to even have like a Fire 1 spell, that's more than enough to eventually get through him because he's not much of a threat with his offense. He just kind of stands there and annoys you until you take him down. But again, that poor magic defense, even a Fire on a mediocre damage magic character is more than enough to eventually get through him.
Thankfully for our runners, they're not going to have a problem with that at all.
Nope. All right, Blue Dragon down, but moment of truth. Was it all for naught? And this is not an Esper. For Knuckles' sake, I hope it is.
So on one of those espers that nobody has was Merton, and we have full Merton protection. Too bad that I think we got it so late that we didn't get to learn it and take advantage of it.
Yeah, that's unfortunate, but I think arguably we've had Merton protection since like the first 10 minutes with that Red Jacket, Minerva, and the Elemental Shields floating around, but nevertheless, it has a one-times multiplier, so you need some dragons, or the statues, bosses, those type of things to get it on characters comfortably. Ooh, that's a soldier.
Oh, come on.
He's giving a funny look. Oh, there we go.
That is what we wanted to see. You love to see it.
All right, that's Tritalk. That is unlock. How close is Knuckly to skip, though? Maybe he has both already. There's Kefka and
Yep,
ooh,
and
double
there's Skip.
whammy. Very nicely done.
Yes, that is beautiful. And Knuckly is going to his K. Yeah, he's gonna go shopping.
Yeah, he's going to Albrook. He's a little confused, maybe. Kefka's in the tower, not the town. Maybe he comes down to town every once in a while to buy some groceries, or maybe he doesn't, get them delivered. I don't know why he wouldn't. He probably hasn't had to pay a delivery fee, but nevertheless, maybe Knuckles just trying to find out, get a little bit more. Maybe check the relics, round out his character builds. Maybe he is
Only,
trying to find something to spend that 65,000 GP he has on him.
I mean, the only thing I can think he's looking for is an offering, maybe.
Yeah.
But his chances, from what you've explained to me, his chances of finding that are very, very low.
No, it's a pretty low roll of offering being rolled into a relic shop in Ultros League. Not impossible, but highly unlikely. But maybe there's something else. We'll ask him. Maybe maybe into some more earrings because we haven't found earrings for sale. We're just using the ones we found.
That's true.
Maybe he just wanted to say hi to the citizens because nobody once you got land there with Celeste in the vanilla game, you never really come back. So maybe he just wanted to come by and say hello.
Oh, that is a third Ultima Esper for this seed. That is incredible. All right, Nobody War has finished his last statue fight. So we usually do a little prediction about how long the final Kefka fight is going to go. What do you think, Glue? What's your prediction?
A good average, about 10-ish minutes is a good estimation. But Nobody War warped out of the tower. So
What are we doing?
that's a fair question. So I was gonna say 8 minutes, but we'll wait until he gets back up there because maybe Knuckly Kong beats him there now. Yeah, I don't know if that's a misclick or if he wants to kill the dragons and maybe learn that Merton or some other spells. Well, that is I see the guesses coming in the chat. We'll allow you to change those when he gets back up there, but
Yes. Okay, he loaded up his left lane or right lane.
there we go. That's what it was. He's putting the warp stones out where they can't hurt him.
Oh dear. Okay, so and oh no, Moogle Charm. Okay.
Did he override his save spot too? Because he could technically reset and get back in there.
Did he even save?
At some point in time, yeah, I think he did.
In the tower? Because I'm not. I mean, he could just be.
I think
Right.
what he's doing is saying, you know what? It took me so long to get through this fight. Let me. I think he left one of the Moogle charms on the airship as well. But I think he's saying, I played so well tonight. Maybe he just wants to give Knuckly Kong a chance for the theatrics. Saying there's no way in heck Knuckly Kong has played as well tonight. Maybe I'm gonna give him a chance to catch up, and we'll build the suspense.
Well, the suspense is now definitely building because we
Yeah.
know the final bosses after this Magimaster are pretty tame.
Yeah, and good heads up play there, realizing that he has to fight the Inferno spot. So he shuffles his stuff around to where he wants it. So Inferno's not going to catch Nobody War by surprise. Oh, it is
Literally
Inferno.
Yeah. This is one of my least favorite bosses to see in KT when you only have 2 people in your party. However, Nobody War having a fully leveled party is going to take it down no problem. And that is Magimaster down for Knuckly.
All right, one down for Knuckly Kong. Just footsteps between Nobody War and the switches again. So the other 3 bosses weren't really much to write home about. Magimaster was the main culprit, the main danger, the main threat up there at the top of the tower. So Knuckly Kong should work his way very quickly through the rest of these while gotta shuffle the Moogle charm back on. Yeah, hopefully he doesn't take too many steps with that lock and gets sent into a counter where lock goes down. Or this Yumaro. Fortunately, just Red Fangs.
I remember right, Nobody War is in a totally different time zone. I'm thinking it's like 2 o'clock in the morning for him.
He is in Italy. I'm not sure what time it is in Italy. Actually, I'm not even sure I can point out Italy on a map anymore. But yeah,
It
it's
looks like a
definitely
boot.
early in the morning over there. Um, I think you're talking about the boot. Like that's like the other part. That's like part of Texas. That's not the right thing. You're thinking about something else. Um,
What? Anyway, I'm gonna guess that 2 in the morning is pretty late to be running a race.
all right, now Kong halfway through his statue fights. Nobody War halfway through his Kefka Cower 5K. The suspense builds. Who will get there first?
He's putting that EXP egg on the Yeti. He's gonna boost that Yeti up for the last 2 bosses.
And that's definitely a smart play, if you ask me.
Yeah. And I believe one of these is Umaro.
Yeah, one of the bots. Yep, this is Yamaro, so should
Yeti
go
on
down
Yeti
pretty
action.
fast.
Oh,
Right.
silly Umaro casting Ice 3 on a Yeti.
Mogul Charm is in the right spot. Locke should fly through this without any hiccups up the rest of the tower. And Knuckly Kong is down to 1 statue fight left. Whichever runner makes it to the switches first will have a huge advantage.
And I believe... Is this the Ultros? No. What was this one? Oh, see, my brain is like...
This is Tritalk.
Tritalk, I'm sorry. My brain is mixing everything up.
Yeah, this
Ultros
is the
was a long time
Tritalk.
ago.
Yeah. All right. Nobody were at the switches. Knuckly Kong just steps ahead.
I'll tell you what, this has turned into quite a race. From the rough start on Knuckly to the, I'm guessing, accidental warp out on Nobody. This has been insane.
Yeah, this should be a 2-turn Tritalk because this is gonna be 9999, and then
Yeah.
this fire screen should be the same amount. Yep. Oh, I take it back. But one more fire 3 won't hurt.
Okay, so Knuckly will probably be first on, well, they will be on switches about the same time, I think.
All right. Yeah, because Knuckle Kong has to do sleeping bag.
Yep.
Any last minute shuffling he'll have to do, but no, looks like he's just gonna save and go.
Yeah. I mean, you have all your stuff with spells. You don't really have a good calmness protection. You just go. So that is switches for Knuckly Kong at 1:16:09.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yep.
now we can get our guesses in chat for how long the final Kefka fight will be for Knuckly.
Yeah, and same role applies. Knuckly Kong has pretty good offense at his disposal, so 10 minutes would be a good estimate, but I would err on the faster side just a hair. So I'm gonna say 8 minutes and 50 seconds.
8 minutes, 50 seconds. Okay. I'm going to say 8 minutes, 30 seconds. Just to see.
And a bonus guess, feel free to guess how many counters Yamaru will trigger on tier 4. I'm going to guess 3, but that's okay. They build character. They build suspense as well.
Alright, so we're getting an Expert out to get rid of the long arm, which is susceptible to instant death. Let's hope it, well, it does not hit.
Yep, there are 3 parts to tier 1. One of them is weak to instant death. The other two, uh, one of them is weak to water. One of them is weak to fire. But there is an important order of operations to deal with them. We want to kill the head before we kill the short arm, because the head will fire off a quake if it is the last one alive. And if you are unfamiliar with Quake in Final Fantasy VI, it hurts. That's the short story of it. Can't ignore it unless you can float over it or negate it. But if it hits you, it hurts. So best not to take it.
Yeah, that Celis swinging for 8,500 from the back row. I mean, Knuckly doesn't even take the time to move her to the front row. There's no point. I mean, she's doing great damage.
Yes, indeed.
Oh, and no counter. That is tier 1 down for Knuckly.
Very nicely done. Now we are on up to tier 2.
All right, so we definitely want to throw that mute out on magic. They're both going up to tier 2 at the same time. We definitely want to instant death tools in the middle. And Tiger is weak to ice, so we can throw out, if we wanted to, we could throw out Ice Beam or just that Tech Missile, no big deal. With a Magic +2 Esper, Ice 2 is going to do incredible damage as well. More than likely, our runners are going to head and do the standard order of operations and leave hit for take out hit before magic, leave magic for last, just because once it's muted, you can just beat on it and not have to worry about anything.
Yep. Yeah, tier 2 is definitely the most unpredictable of the various tiers of Final Kefka. But when you have the tools, no pun intended, to take care of tools and mute magic, it can go a lot smoother for you. It allows you to focus on the parts that are scary outside of those, and then you can just comfortably take care of those, and it's a far smoother experience.
Yeah, and we're seeing Knuckly throw out some big blue bubbles, along with some great chest bumps from Yeti.
Yep, and we're seeing Ultima. This is the time to Ultima because there are more tiers on the screen than there will be at any other point in time, so you might as well maximize the Ultima things that Ultima is hitting and do as much damage as possible.
Yeah, and that is magic down. You see the quarter coming out after it's muted, so that is magic down. So a little different from the normal order of operations, but at this point, with the damage that we have, our runners probably don't care at all.
Yeah, no problem whatsoever. Even the 10 hits isn't going to be inherently scary because we have a couple snow mufflers, a couple of behemoth suits, other things that are going to make it not so scary. So the order of operations still exists that you want to take stuff down, but when you're this powerful as these two runners are, you just kind of want to smash the A button, fire off some strong abilities, and go on about your business.
Yeah, pretty much. And that was a rough hit on Celis, though.
Yeah, that's yeah, unfortunate targeting there, but I think we're past the point where anybody's a threat to go down. But Knuckly Kong is on his way up with the second to last part of the final fight. So yeah, 2 more tiers to go, and we're not far behind him, closing the gap.
Yeah. So we had kind of talked earlier in the seed about Calmness. The worst case scenario, Calmness takes out 2 characters. The 2 characters that they have left on either side probably have enough power to take down Final Kefka with no problem. Of course, RNG is always a factor, but I don't think either of these runners are going to have issues with the rest of Final Kefka.
No, it's just going to be a matter of who can maybe not get their entire party whirlwind, who can maybe eat the less meteos, who can just take us down the fastest. Because it's not a matter of if, it's the matter of when.
Mm-hmm. Now, unfortunately, since we have no offering, no quick, no Nobody War may have the Genji Glove at Ragnarok equipped. We can't break the damage cap to really skip past like the traded BDO phase, but you know, Mog being able to tech missile while blinded or muted does not matter, and that is Knuckly going on to tier 4.
Yes, indeed. 1 fight left for Knuckly Kong. All that stands between him and victory.
Ooh, that is an unfortunate whirlwind for Nobody
Yeah,
War. It's
Especially with
gonna
everybody banished. Yeah, it's gonna hit everybody
yes.
for sure.
Ouch. That is painful to see. That is the unfortunate uh, thing about using Phantom for calmness protection is an unlucky spell like that will just wreck your life.
But nope, tech missile. Oh no, tear it down. But only tear, so we're fine. We're still fine. We're just trying to get through this. A
We're
little quick,
fine.
but yeah, we're fine. All right. Yumaro getting to work as Yumaro does. I fully expect to see Knuckly all hands on deck, all Thunder Shields free to launch away.
Hmm.
Yeah, tier 4 of Final Kefka has 62,000 HP. But if you can flirt with the damage cap, that essentially means you have 7 turns, as we're seeing 99999. This Thunder Shield should do the same amount, so it doesn't take too many turns when you have this type of offense at your disposal.
And crazy thing is, even if Yeti triggers an ultimate counter, everybody can survive it.
Yeah, because it's going to do between 2200 and 2400 to our characters, but as you can see, we're all surpassed that. But can't counter when we're in the Ghana phase, so now we just need to round out the damage we do and get the GGs in chat.
Yes. And that is a crack pow at 123.50. We can get the final race time.
Yeah, GGs
GG's
to
Duckley.
GGs indeed. He was behind. He persevered. Nobody War unfortunately had a mishap with some warp stones. But when you have a runner as good as Knuckly Kong and you give him, you leave the door open, you don't slam it in his face, you can sneak through it, and he did tonight.
And GG's Nobody War.
Thank you, thank you.
Close.
Yeah, GG's
Those
guys.
warp
Just to
stones.
give you just to give you a little recap, Nobody War Knuckly Kong had some falters at the beginning. You separated yourself a little bit. Unfortunately, those warp stone shenanigans allowed him to sneak back up, and y'all were neck and neck there until that whirlwind put him ahead, and then he crossed the finish line. So GG's to Knuckly Kong. First, let's ask the most important question of the night. Knuckly Kong, you kept Yumaro in your party. You did the right thing. Thank you for doing that. But would you like to discuss the Yumaro situation and the many benefits he gave your party tonight?
Well, the goal that I always find with these seeds is to get to a point where you just kind of hold A to win, and having Umaro in the party is just one less menu that you have to go through. He is a phenomenal character. He has incredible stats, and there is a large variety of things that he can do that do not miss, such as tackle. Or if you are lucky enough to find a rage ring, which absorbs fire, he will tackle more often and also throw other party members at the enemies.
Hmm.
So not only does rage ring provide another form of Merton protection, but it makes the Yeti do some funny, interesting things.
Yeah, and Nobody War, you took Yumaro for a cup of coffee, but then you ditched him when you found Celeste. Why did you do that, my friend?
Uh, I'm not sure. She had morph. There was an ultimate floating around. I was hoping to find an Esper with like a tier 3 spell.
Mhm.
Ended up finding the rag real late. She didn't really do much. Our boy probably would have done a little bit better, but it is what it is.
Okay, so I have a question. And this is just me speaking from an inexperience level, I think. Neither one of you both took grind fights on the world map, and you both kind of faded Serpent Trench for a little bit. What was your thought process, both of you, for doing the grind fights on the world map as opposed to doing the grind fights from a check? Whoever wants to go
Um,
first.
in the beginning, I feel like I pushed scaling a little further than I should have. especially with not finding earrings to make the skeins more valuable for throwing Gao. Um, so my worry was I would encounter an enemy in the trench that I would not be able to beat. And then I ended up with horrible grind fights, so I went to the trench anyways.
Okay, good. I just want to pick brains on this one.
Yeah, kind of my same thoughts too. I'm like a creature of habit. Scaling, we had both probably pushed scaling at the point where, I mean, I think I was like 3-3 by the time I was taking those grind fights, and you get burned one too many times doing Serpent Trench early, and then you kind of just you put it off to like the end of your late game. I had actually forgotten about it until uh geez, I don't know when what. Oh, until I finished all of Mog's checks, and I'm like, oh, I should probably do that now. It'll be good for levels mid game.
Yeah,
And
for
it in
sure. I
fact
mean,
was not good for levels.
yeah.
Those are good fights today.
I mean, there's been times whenever I've done Serpent Trench and it's level magics and ninjas and horrible stuff. So I totally get that. Um, I think it's definitely at this point just an RNG of the seed as to what shows up where. Now, one of the things that really kind of turned the tide about mid seed was Knuckly, you went up World of Ruin Narsh before Nobody War did and got that EXP egg fairly early and really let you get your Celis up to the same levels as Nobody War did, even though you had that rough start, as opposed to Nobody, you did it kind of later and didn't get to reap the benefits of that egg as much. So that was definitely a really interesting part of the seed, is seeing that diversion and how it really helped narrow the gap that the start of the race gave. It was fun. Guys, it was fun to watch.
So when I found the experience egg and I put it on Celeste and I slapped the strength +2 Esper, I was hoping to find either a rag or a Lumina for her to use, and then I was going to put the Atma weapon on Terra, which is why I let her hold on to the HP 100 Esper for so long. Um, it ended up not working out that way, and then Terra had a stupid amount of MP and was able to cast Ultima multiple times without needing to refill MP. So that's when my strategy pivoted, and then towards the end, I noticed Umaro's levels were a little lower than the rest of the party, so I ended up slapping the experience egg on him in the tower. I figured level 55 was good enough for Celeste when she was doing 9,999 damage with half of her HP.
Yeah, it was a. I definitely noticed you putting the EXP on the Yeti on those last two boss fights. Um, so definitely a good play there, just to get him bumped up a little bit. So how did UL8 treat you guys? How did you guys feel about it?
I had a rough start to the season. Um, but last week I finally got my first place win for the season, and it also got me a new PB on Ultros League. So I came in at
Yeah,
a 107.59. I was quite excited about that.
yeah. I was
Uh,
doing a little bit of my homework before this race, and I saw that you got that 107. Congrats.
but Nobody War and myself have been going back and forth pretty much all season, and it's turned into quite the friendly rivalry. And mm, I could not have asked for a better friendly rival. And I'm glad that him and I ended up in the same pod. And I'm hoping that we get in the same pod for season 9.
Yeah, we had a strong group all together this season, with Doc and Pero being in our our pod. So it's been rough fights, but we've been keeping up with them. So I'm really happy about it.
Well, yeah, you definitely had some killers in your pod. Um, Pero is amazing. Doc's amazing. Everybody in Ultros League and pretty much all the runners in Worlds Collide are just great people, great runners. You guys really gave us a good show tonight, so thank you so much for that. Glue, do you have anything you want to add?
Nope. GG's, guys. Thank you again for putting your week 8 race here on Restream. And congratulations again to Knuckle Kong. Catching back up, putting on a thriller, and then taking home all of those cookies. That's a robust amount of cookies you've won tonight, my friend. You guys got anything I want to give a plug or shout out to before we sign off?
Has anyone talked about the Moogle Cup?
There's a cup,
Ooh.
you say?
Yeah, it's one of the great ways for new players to get familiar with Worlds Collide. It's a beginner flag set, and you are paired with a mentor that will help you discuss different strategies and help you learn the game and ways to make your way through the seed. Uh, I don't know how we're looking on signups for the next Moogle Cup, but it will be the third Moogle Cup,
Fourth.
fourth Moogle Cup,
Yeah.
and yeah, I believe
It's time for a new
Leia
trilogy.
and Shango, Papa Shango, were both part of the early Moogle Cups, and they are turned into fierce competitors in Ultros League. So I feel like people should sign up for the Moogle Cup and get a real experience with Worlds Collide and get paired up with one of our many great mentors that are available to everyone, not just people that sign up for the Moogle Cup. Mentors are always available, and this is the most welcoming community I've ever been a part of, and no one will complain or get frustrated or ignore you if you ask too many questions. We all appreciate the interest and we want it to keep growing.
Well said, my friend. That is a topic and event close to my heart. So thank you very much for mentioning that.
And nobody worry, throw the same question your way, my friend.
Yeah, next weekend, the Final Fantasy Randomizer Marathon is happening in West Virginia. There is a bunch of Worlds Collide community going to be there. Myself and Jex Rocks are racing a Chaos Crawler. I know Glue, Fitz, Papa, uh, Fiery Blizzard are running relay races. So that'll be a fun time. Get to pack my bags and catch a flight next Tuesday to see y'all. So I'm excited about that.
We all
Yep.
want pictures.
I want autographs.
If I
I
could pack
mean,
my frog glue, I'd pack the frog, but I'm bringing cookies. So
Oh, you mean the coffee maker?
yeah.
Oh, sweet.
all right. Well, Glue, anything in Papa Shango? Anything you guys want to mention before we sign off? I want to say a thank you to Papa Shango for doing the restream tonight, and Glue, thank you for calming with me on my first comeback after a little bit of a hiatus.
Yeah, no. As everybody said, thank you guys for doing your race tonight. Thank you, Papa Shango, for putting on the restream, and then again, thank you, Joya, for doing commentary, and then thank you, the loyal viewer, for watching these wonderful racers put on some shenanigans tonight. We appreciate y'all hanging out with us. We're going to raid on over to Final Fantasy Randomizer, who happens to do putting on a race. I didn't catch what it was, but I checked the list for some live channels of friends of Worlds Collide, and they were live, so they're doing a race. So we're gonna go raid them on over. Let's show them some love. And with that, I bid everyone a good night.
Good night.
Good night. Thank you, everyone.